America's at a crossroads, and someone needs to stand up for America's rights. I am Leo Terrell, America's fair-minded civil rights attorney. Here is my opening statement. You know, it's my honor to have the privilege to interview the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Leo, you're doing so well. Amazing.
Well, Mr.
We're
President,
very proud of you.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I just want you to know I voted Republican, as you know, for the first time because of you.
Right.
I know you're very busy, so I want to jump in on these questions and
okay.
Appreciate your time. First of all, Mr. President,
go ahead.
The Middle East crisis, there's a ceasefire that took place overnight. Joe Biden erroneously is trying to take credit for it. He had nothing to do with it. It was brokered by the Egyptians. During your 4 years, we didn't have this type of dispute or fire between Hamas and Israel. What's your perspective on this ceasefire that's taking place right now?
Well, you never would have had it. You never should have had it. If the election results were proper, you would have not had it. And to be honest, nobody can believe that happened where you're having thousands of rockets fired at Israel. It would have never happened if I was president. And I understand both sides. I know both sides in a certain way. Certainly, I get along great with Israel. Nobody's done more for Israel, if you look at it. Certainly no American president, with Golan Heights and Jerusalem, and obviously ending the Iran deal, which they want to now go back into, which is a big mistake. But I've done a lot, and I understand the Palestinians very well. I mean, I have a good relationship with them. It would have never, ever happened, Leo. It should have never happened. People were killed. A lot of damage, a lot of people on both sides, by the way, just so we understand. I mean, a lot of people were killed on both sides, and this should have never happened.
Mr. President, it used to be that there was tremendously 100% bipartisan support for Israel. And it seems now that within the Democratic Party, there is a anti-Israel wing by the progressive. And to me, it's something that has never happened before. What do you think brought about this?
Well, it's unthinkable. As I was growing up for years and years, I'd see Israel was probably the number one darling of Congress. And now you take a look, and especially in the House, I mean, I don't think it's a darling at all. I think they dislike Israel, the Democrats, and they do very little for it, and they're fighting it all the time. And you have AOC, and you have Tlaib, and you have Omar. You have the people that are, I don't know what they're doing. They're against Israel, as far as I'm concerned. I see it, and they're against. I don't think the Senate has been as much as radicalized against Israel, but the House is certainly. And it's amazing that people of the Jewish faith, they stay with Democrats largely, as you know. If you look at polling, I guess it's a habit, but it's a bad habit because they've done very, very poorly. Obama and Biden have been very bad to Israel, very, very bad over the years to Israel. They gave them the Iran nuclear deal. So it's always amazed me, but nobody's done more than we have, Leo.
Oh, absolutely. And pointing out the issue of what's happening right now in our own country, we have this anti-Semitic activity in Los Angeles, where I live, in New York City, and there's a lack of any type of response to it. And I just think that this is something that has grown with basically the blessing of these Democrats who are giving cover to this anti-Israel position.
It's unthinkable because of where it was 10 years ago. I mean, Israel was totally protected by Congress. A thing like this would not have been, even in your wildest imagination 10 years ago, you couldn't have imagined what's happening. No, the Democrats, large numbers of them, hate Israel.
Yeah.
And that's as simple as you can put it.
I agree. I want to get to as many subjects as possible. We have I believe, a racist mayor in Chicago, President Trump, who went out and made an announcement that Mayor Lightfoot, who's only going to take interviews from people or black and brown and will not allow reporters who are white. Could you imagine, Mr. President, if a white mayor would have said the same thing? Could you imagine what would have happened?
It would be the biggest story in the country, at least for a period of time. It's incredible. I saw that yesterday, actually, and I said, wow, that's amazing. That's incredible. But you're right. If it were the other way around, it would not have been acceptable. It's so true. Sad.
It's very sad. And it leads me to my next question. I became a Republican because last year when Joe Biden said, if you ain't black, if you vote Republican, you ain't black. Why do the Democrats get a pass on the race card, in your opinion?
Well, they always play the race card. You know, when they lose, their last line of defense is the race card. And they've used it for many, many years. And it's really become much less effective because people now understand it. They see what's happening. And that's because of you and friends of yours that have been so incredible. And we love that. I love listening to you. I love watching you on television. I think you do so good with Sean. And I even like the 2.0 with the red hat. Okay, it's great. But you do a fantastic job. But really what you've done is brought it down a lot, you know, because the race card has been used by the Democrats for decades. Now they're using it all the time. I mean, everybody is a racist if you listen to them. But I think it's much less effective. It used to be much more effective, much less effective. And if you look at the votes, I've done very well. You know, we've gone up tremendously with the African-American population, with the Hispanic population. Amazing, actually.